Hello everyone, Teacher here, and welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk a little bit about plug and play characters, who I'm gonna be looking at for my squads. It might differ from you based on your squads and where you are in the game, but if you're ready, let's take a closer look. So I want to start off in the Elves section actually, because there's quite some Elves that are plug and play. And the ones we're going to be looking at are those in this row right here. First one I want to talk about is Naremiri. Everyone knows she's a pretty well plug and play character. For me at the moment, I would mostly need her for a chapter 3. Now, if you've seen the Ballin video from yesterday, then maybe I don't need her with my elf squad, but she can be reasonable elsewhere, so she could help me get some score increase, and that will also help me in my chapter 4. So maybe she can help push me towards the second Gandalf shard and maybe even further as I'm building out my squads. So Naremiri, most people have her built really good plug and play, and one that I'm gonna be looking at because at the moment I'm doing around 8.5 million in a raid for my score, and I'm trying to see how can I get closer so I can do what I need to do to push onwards. So Naremiri is definitely gonna be one for me. We don't cover her that much because most people already know how good she is. Now another plug and play character that you could use in raids is actually Legolas, because Legolas is free to play. Now level 5 and level 6 in his leader ability isn't free to play at the moment, but overall his kit is really solid. 50% deadly, it's okay. Would be nice to have it 100%, but at least you get the haste chance for 70%, which is really good. Allows you to take more turns, allow you to do more stuff. So, and when you do Legolas, then it's impossible to not talk about someone else. And you guessed it, it is actually Gimli. Gimli is also really good plug and play. These two are a wombo combo. They work well in chapter 2. They work pretty okay in chapter 4. From what I hear, they are also okay in chapter 3. Like he has provoke and he has some defensive, so that's pretty good. Defensive means you block, and we all know it's all about surviving, blocking, getting your score, and he can also do some retaliate. This might be pretty okay for a dwarf squad. Again, my dwarves aren't built. I'm working on them. But like these are really good plug and play, a good duo. They're free to play. They're farmable. Very easy. Gimli won't take that long. Ballin, you could say he's plug and play. I will test him actually in chapter 3. Next raid, where I will try to take Lomian out and actually run with Lord Balin, see if he can survive a Skull Crusher swipe. But that's something that I will test, and I will make a video on it when I have tested it. So, Naremiri and Legolas Gimli, great plug and play characters for being able to increase your score here and there. Legolas and Gimli we're going to come back to in a little while, but right now I actually want to talk about the next plug and play character. Because some people have said, teacher, why are you actually farming him? You get him daily. I spend 80 energy on him. But look at where he is already. He is already at a 5-star and working towards his 6-star. Now, the reason why I say he is a plug and play, I'm not going to look at them as a duo, because a duo plug and play is still very heavy in this game, resourceable, resource management. So Feely actually warrants a spot as a plug and play, because here you can get some heal off with his basic. He has Expose, which is really good for both Balrog and the Cave Troll, so that's really nice. It's a 2-turn, and there is also a Weaken, which is really nice. Damage reduced. Then he does have healing, and he has Fortitude to dwarf members, so you could use him later down the line for a dwarf squad. So there's really value for building him. But also one place where he's really good, I might actually consider building this guy and taking out my Halberad with my Gondor Ranger squad in chapter 3. Because he gains block chance to all squad members. So I get a heal. I actually get more healing, and I gain some fortitude. No, actually I don't gain fortitude. That's only Thorin's company. But I gain block chance. I gain heal, and I gain some damage. Also, again, 7-star. He's gonna be that eventually. That will be really great. Everyone knows that the dwarves team can get 900k on the cave troll. So that's pretty good. That means this is something that I can use down the line. Also dwarves are actually pretty good. They just need AoE, which I'm kind of happy they don't have because that would be really hard in a multi-squad PvP when we ever get that. But he's actually really good. And then when you have him built and you're slowly farming up Keely, you can actually then have a guy who is plug and play, and then you can move in, and the squad really gets a lot of value out of it. Again, I'm not looking in this video at them as a duo. I'm just looking at Feely separately. But one thing that will be nice is his assist here. So you already have a very good plug and play character in Feely. So that's Feely, Gimli, Legolas, and Naremiri. Again, Gimli, Legolas kind of work as a duo. Separately, Legolas has more value if you only build one of them, and that is more for an elf squad. The next part I actually want to go and take a look at is kind of tied into Legolas and Gimli, and why I am mentioning them, and that is because the Rohan free really good for most chapters. Eomer with his assist is king in chapter 1, chapter 3. They do great damage, and there's some might, there's exposed, there's turn meter. There's really good things in this squad for the cave troll, and that is where I want to bring in Legolas and Gimli, and a reason for building them. Because if you do build them, then they actually work really, really well with this team, as you get a high damage, you get some crit, you get some more tanking, helping Eothane staying alive. Now you do then lack some heal, but it is more of a DPS check, so if you have a really built up Rohan squad, then look at them. We have someone who's scoring, I believe, close to 700k, if not higher. We'll take a look in just a moment. Elmer, many people buy him from the store, and I've heard from many endgame players they actually regret wasting that they didn't go and farm Eowyn and Eothane. So if you are new, if you're mid game, make sure you spend 60 energy a day. Start farming them. When I get my 2 hobbits done, Frodo and Merry, that energy will be spent on these guys, or this guy and this woman. So there's also plug and play there. And we weren't supposed to go out because there's one more plug and play character, especially free to play, that I want to talk about, and that is Nures. My Nures is now 5-star. He's pretty good plug and play overall. He's very speedy, that's really nice. He can inflict weaken, we don't mind that, so we get some lower damage put onto us. He can grant defensive, it's a free turn cooldown. He cleanses 1 Bane from 2 random allies, so that's pretty nice. Would like it to be more, but defensive for chapter 3 and a summon. And he then also has this provoke. I know many have gas built. Some might even have Gruher built now, or gonna be building him. Not that I'm gonna be recommending that, but gas is really good on defense in arena for swiping away abilities, which is all about stalling. So Nures also warrants a plug and play list. I'm not gonna rank them separately. That is for a different video. If I were to do that plug and play for the raids, that would be pretty hard. So this is just some that you can consider building for helping your squad here and there. So he could help my squad because he has cleanse, and also he has defensive, and he has a summon, which could be really good for my chapter 3 team. I'm not satisfied with what I'm scoring there. I'm scoring 2.4 actually, and I want to get the 6 Gandalf shards. So Naremiri, Feely, and Nures is actually those I'm looking there to say, how can I improve my score? Because they are very plug and play. Naremiri can plug and play in chapter 3 and chapter 4. Ballin, I will test him in chapter 3. That means I might have another plug and play character, and that gives me more freedom with Naremiri. Feely, some heal, some block chance, also plug and play, and for the future. Same with Naremiri and Legolas. That when we get Orphan and Rumil out, then you actually have 2 teams where you could then say you take your Rumil and your Orphan along with your Lord Balin when they are hopefully easily farmable, made available in a few months, and then you combo it with a Legolas. Then you could slide Feely in there for a heal, and then you have your Ballin as your AoE cleanser, and you have your high DPS in Orphan and Legolas, so that's really good plug and play. Then Legolas you can take and put into a Chapter 2 squad. So overall you do gain a lot of value from doing stuff like that, and Nures could then go plug and play with some shadow sides, because many people do have Ironhide builds, so you could I know some do Ironhide with their Rohan free, then you could slot Nures in there, because then you have two ways of doing a summon. You have defensive, you have some cleanse, you have two summons, you have a lot of taunt slash provoke going around, you have Airwind with cleanse, you have some might for some assist and everything, and you get your AoEs in there, which is also really nice because you actually do want to be able to have some kill pressure. That team could also work really well in a Chapter 1, maybe in a Chapter 4, I don't know, depending on how much you get hit and the damage you can do there, but still there's some potential there, and that team you could also then do in Chapter 4. So I'm thinking my teams that I'm gonna be working on, because I have 4 teams available, how can I do plug and play characters and then making a 5th squad without investing my resources too thin. And at the moment, I'm feeling Feely, Naremiri are my first go-to as those that I will work on, and then probably my Rohan free. And then we'll see from there. It also depends. And when I say work on, at star-wise and maybe some gear-wise, that is the first thing I want to do, because my ability-wise will go into Haradrim very, very soon. I'm almost done with Lord Elrond, and the fact that Balin is now helping me in Chapter 4 means I actually don't really need to build Lomien that much. So Haradrim very soon. We can evaluate them a little bit more. Now, we are almost at the end of this video. I'm gonna try to keep it short. It's already been more than 11 minutes. The last two, plug and play, are Orphan and Rumil. You could consider building them if they are free to play, especially if you paid for them, then consider doing them. So if you haven't done already, then get them. Even though their event is ended, I would actually pull for their chests. But that is only if you are really, really committed, because then you have missed out on the XP if you haven't built them. But they will be really, really great, and you could have a great team with these 4. Again, I mentioned it, and you could have Lord Balin, so you have 2 crit machines, you have some defensive, you have a cleanser and a healer, and you also have Lord Balin as a cleanser. And then basically you could do this team up here if you want to, but that will require a Lomien being pretty well built. So, which I would actually say is pretty okay. And then when Balin's Expedition is more fleshed out, yeah, like you get the 2 last members, then maybe Naremiri becomes a plug and play up here for Chapter 4 and Chapter 3. And then you just have Lomien in there for Chapter 2. So again, there's really a lot of potential here, and those characters that I have mentioned, Feely, Naremiri, Legolas Gimli, Rumil Orphan, down the line, so we're gonna leave them for last. Rohan Free and Nures, those are the characters that I'm currently looking at, that I want to invest into with my abilities and my level a little bit. And when I thinking level, because it doesn't cost that much, then level 40, and then try to test them out here and there. I'm not gonna do it yet. Also because we have a Shadow month, so I'm really curious about the Reku and Charu, their kits, and how well they will work with the Black Beast, because Black Beast looks like he will be strong. Not game breaking at the moment, but I hope his team will do that. So yeah, some plug and play characters, suggestions, and how you could build your future teams around them. Drop a comment down below, let me know what you think, and I'll see you all in the next video.